All right, back again, and we're on our Magistrate Day. I've joked earlier, Josh Palmer was the leadoff hitter this morning. You're batting third in the lineup, and we've got oh golly, I forgot who's at 1 o'clock. Oh, Rick Manier's a cleanup hitter, and then
maybe I get an RBI.
That's it right there. You're setting them up. We're here today, Darrin Gregg, District 3. I'm sorry, District 3. And we've kind of started off with, kind of give us an explanation of District 3.
An explanation of
where it is. What district would you be serving?
Part of it's on 27. Part of it's in Falmouth. Part of it runs north on 27, like down to Blackburn Road.
Where's that at?
Bethel Hill. Like
Bethel Hill, okay.
In that area. It also goes out 22, side roads off 22 going, that'd be west towards Dry Ridge.
So kind of the southwest corner of the county.
Yep, and it also goes out in the Morgan area, Marcus, you know.
I've never heard of Marcus before.
Where's
that out by Morgan?
Yeah, it's toward the Harrison County line.
Okay. In between Barry and Morgan?
You can get over to, he'll take you to the Harrison County line.
Really?
There's a road over there that bounces back and forth. Part of it's in Harrison, part of it's in Pendleton. You know, the signs get stolen all the time, so you don't know exactly where you're at. But we got Ted Thompson out there taking care of everything. So.
You know, it's funny because I've lived in this county almost, let's see, I'll be 53 this year. I was gone for 6 years. So I don't know, 40-some years. Never heard of Marcus.
Yeah. There's a church out there called Marcus.
Oh, really?
And if you stay on 330, it'll take you right into Harrison County and hit, I think that's 36, I think, or it takes you to Cynthiana.
Okay.
You would run into 36 if you go all the way.
So a lot of farming community, a little bit of the town community here with the city of Falmouth.
Yeah.
A lot of farming community.
Right.
Okay. Now you graduated what I like to call the best decade of Pendleton County High School, the 80s.
Yeah.
Might be the best decade ever because we were just cool in the 80s.
Yeah.
After, what year did you graduate?
I was supposed to have graduated in 1987.
Uh-huh.
I was a bad kid.
Made bad choices.
I made bad choices, yeah. I actually quit high school in 1987, and I realized what I'd done wrong, and I went back and I graduated in 1988. So now I get to go to 2 class reunions every 5 years.
You did that on purpose.
Yeah.
See, you were thinking ahead long time before.
Right.
But you know, the key point is there, you realized a lot of people today, they make mistakes. They don't realize, they won't be humble enough to realize they made a mistake and go back and did, and you did.
I made the honor roll 1 time in my life. That's because I said, I'm going to make the honor roll 1 time in my life. And I've still got my paper from the principals congratulating me, and I did get the, and government was actually one of my favorite classes.
Which, great segue right there.
It really was, because I never thought I'd ever pass it, and I made A's and B's in it.
Well, cool. Well, what have you been doing since then? We've started these out the same way. First question, graduated, late 80s. What have you been doing since then?
Same thing I was doing when I was born.
Yeah.
I work a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoy working. My mother always told me to make your work fun. If you don't make your work fun, it's not going to be, you're going to be miserable. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I started out, you know, you say, what's your first job? My first job was picking blackberries for the older ladies in Falmouth and selling them to them by the gallon in order to buy myself tennis shoes to go to school in.
Yeah.
We was poor. Mm-hmm. We were real poor. And
there's a lot of you all,
there's
right?
9 of us in our family, and Mom had 12 pregnancies.
And 22, 23 years of from graduations from the oldest?
My oldest brother, Terry, is 20 years older than me.
So he would, yeah, so it would have been about mid-60s or so when
Terry's 69 and I'm 49.
Yeah.
So that's how I remember Terry's age.
Understand. And I tell you what, we could do a whole video on you just telling stories about your older brothers and everything, which would be a great
Me and Marvin Sullivan could sit here and relate a whole lot. I had a dad that was in World War II. I'm 49 years old.
Yeah.
There's not many people 49 years old that had a father that was in World War II.
That's very true. Yeah, it would have been more like me, more like the Korean War and those kind of things.
Right.
Wow. So, you've worked your whole time, but tell us, where's some of that experience coming from in working?
I've mowed grass when I was a kid. I worked in the tobacco fields. I worked for different farmers. I worked for Joey Wells over there. That was a good experience for me. Me and Joey and Sandy, I thought a lot of, and Dana and Stacy also. I thought a lot of that whole family. And then I never wanted to keep, in my younger days, I didn't want to stay at the same thing for years and years and years. I always wanted to do something different to get myself experience with it. I wanted a little bit of experience with everything. And, I ran heavy equipment down at the rock quarry in Butler for several years.
I didn't know.
I run a bulldozer down there. I run the main crusher down there. I worked in garbage a lot. I drove garbage trucks all my life.
Mm-hmm.
From the residential, doing it by yourself, to roll-offs, a little bit of front load. Never cared much for front load, but roll-off, I liked it. I worked for Reese Concrete. They had an opening one time to drive it was a roll-off, but you pull it with a semi.
Okay.
I thought, man, that could be an opportunity someday to make real big money.
Mm-hmm.
But I had to learn how to do it.
Yeah.
And be able to do it with a semi. Well, I got that down to an art now, if I ever had to do that. And I went to, I sub-drove a school bus for 10 years. And then Mr. Strong, when he was superintendent here, he gave everybody a raise. And I sat down one night and I did the math. And I thought, I'm saving this much money on a vehicle. I'm saving this much money on gas and time. So I took a full-time route with the county school system, and I currently drive a bus for Pendleton County.
How long have you been doing that?
Full-time, I've been doing it 6 years.
6 years.
I did it part-time for 10.
Where's your route at?
Hog Ridge.
Hog Ridge.
We ride the ridge. And also, I got 3 children and some grandchildren, but TJ, my oldest son, he come home one day and he said, Dad, I want to buy some cows. And I said, well, I want you to buy some cows. And I said, would you like for me to, I said, there's strength in numbers.
Mm-hmm.
I said, I'd like to help you. I said, me and you'll do it together, and we'll split everything down the middle. Now my son has, and me, and my youngest son, he has a couple of little calves. He's just a young fella right now. We got about 50 head of cows.
Really?
He's paid for. And my daughter, she come home and wanted to live with me. And she come home in a way, if you know what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
She come home in a way. The older generation know what I'm talking about. And I said, Dad's here to help you.
Gotcha.
I'll take care of you and whatever we got to do. Then the opportunity come up to buy a little store. And I asked her, I said, you want a job? She said, yep. I said, well, I'm going to buy this store, and me and you're going to do that.
Is that in Lennoxburg?
That is in Powersville.
Powersville, okay. What's the name of it?
It is called Powersville Mercantile.
Okay.
And I told her, I said, me and you'll do this just the same as me and TJ does the cows. And we'll have it a year. November 1st, we'll have it a year. And me and TJ's been doing our thing with the cows since 2011. And I think I'm just going to turn my youngest son, Micah, into a politician.
That sounds good. On Hog Ridge, I bet you, with your experiences and what you learned, I bet you can really relate and talk and counsel the kids on that bus.
When I first started that route, the bus had a monitor on it for behavior.
Mm-hmm.
When I took the route, I said, you all going to send me a monitor for behavior? And they said no. And I told my supervisor at the time, I said, if you'll just leave me alone for 2 or 3 years, I said, I'll have these kids doing really well. I've never had a monitor for behavior. My kids, I can come down on their level, they can come up to my level. The little kids, they want to talk about politics. while we're going home, we'll talk about it. They want to talk about God, we'll talk about God. And you know, I don't push politics, God, anything on any of the children. But if a child asks me a question, I will give them as truthful of an answer that I know.
Okay. One of the questions I wanted to ask you, and correct me if I'm wrong, when you and Bobby Fogel ran against each other 4 years ago, both were Democrats?
Both was Democrats.
What made the change? You're a Republican now.
Well, I'm not a Republican
Why
now.
did you make the change?
I'm not going to sit here and lie to you. There's 2 reasons.
But you've never. I don't think you have the ability to lie. By golly, I made the comment to somebody earlier. I said, you want to know the truth? Ask Darrin. He'll tell you the truth whether you like it or
I'll
not.
tell you God's honest truth.
Uh-huh.
And this might make some people upset. And it's not intended to upset nobody or to me to point fingers at anyone.
Mm-hmm.
The first reason, well, I won't say the first, one of the reasons was it was a strategy.
Mm-hmm.
It was a strategy. You got 3 people running in a race. That third person can throw
Mm-hmm.
that one way
Gotcha.
or the other. People
Yeah.
know this. People that are involved in this stuff know this.
Yeah.
So my thinking was, well, I'll switch to Republican, and maybe I won't have nobody run against me in May.
Uh-huh.
Come to find out, Curtis Orm ran.
Mm-hmm.
Me and Curtis run our race, clean race. I got to know Curtis a little bit. Good man. I like Curtis. So that throwed me into the November general election with just me and the incumbent.
Mm-hmm.
And made the best man win.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
The other reason I switched, this is a Washington reason.
Gotcha.
I don't believe in abortion. I stand for the American flag. I don't support Nike no more. I believe in God.
Mm-hmm.
There's just so many, and you know, and I watch a lot of news. I switch back and forth, CNN, MSNBC, Fox, and Fox is my favorite channel, I will admit that, but I don't want to be associated with the Washington establishment. Democrats in Pendleton County are probably no different than a Republican in Pendleton County, because we're all old school.
Yeah.
And that's going to change someday, I'm sure. But right now, my opinion, a Democrat that lives out there by me, 99.9999, we think the same way.
Yeah. When I interviewed Roger McKinney, we used the term blue dog Democrats, which were conservative Democrats. That's really Pendleton County Democrats, are blue dogs. You don't hear that term mentioned anymore.
I want the votes from Democrats. I want them from Republicans. I want them from Independents. I want them from everybody.
Gotcha.
I want to be your next magistrate.
Okay. Well, in dealing with that next magistrate, first question right off the bat is, over the next 4 years, how can the fiscal court increase or generate more revenue to do the kind of things that needs to be done around here? What's kind of your philosophy on revenue generation?
Working in the garbage industry. The garbage industry was my biggest long-term thing, I'd have to say, other than the school bus. And you know, when I say this, you gotta study this and make sure that this can work.
Mm-hmm.
It would also create some jobs, but you know, and then you gotta think it's about picking up garbage here in the county, having the county pick the garbage up, having garbage trucks to do it. But then you gotta think of Rumpke, which they have their landfill here. There's a lot of things you gotta talk about and figure out, because we have a host agreement with Rumpke. I mean, they're giving money back to the county. That might be something that just may not ever happen. But you never know, it may. Another thing I've been thinking about is if we was to combine the sheriff's office, the Falmouth Police Department, the Butler Police Department, and make a county police department. Mm-hmm. Nobody loses their job. Mm-hmm. Everybody just, except your sheriff, your chief deputy, they would take care of the courthouse and all that stuff, serve warrants, and the others. And as I get in deeper, checking into it with my idea, we may have enough money and people to protect our schools. And not have to hire outside help. you know, people that are already retired. You know, that we may not need that. I mean, and that's not really taking no money away from them because they're already retired. And we could have somebody at ball games, and all schools could be, you know, patrolled.
Having been an athletic director, I know, and you're an official, there's been times we've had to call the police to the middle school.
There has been times.
Yeah.
There's been times you'd almost about have to lock yourself in a room.
Yeah.
Don't come in my room.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the site manager's job to make sure nobody's coming in that room.
And you all done an excellent job over the years.
Yeah.
And I hope that I've done an excellent job with bringing these little kids up into the athletics at school. And Dante, I used to referee Dante when he was a little boy. I always tell him, I say, Dante, you learned everything from me, man. And he'll look at me and go, yeah.
Next year when he's playing in UK, you can say, I called a foul ball.
Yeah, did I tee him up? I don't remember. But I wish that boy all the luck in the world.
It's a great story. I think everybody's just enjoying.
It's great. I just, you know, and there's people that don't be jealous, you know.
Yeah.
Don't be jealous. Be proud, you know.
Yeah,
man, that boy's a hometown boy going to play at Big Blue.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And we'll have, you know, a chance somewhere in this world to play professionally.
That would be even greater.
Yeah. Yeah, what a neat thing.
I wish him well.
Well, continuing on about revenue, you mentioned a couple items there. What's your philosophy as far as ways we can generate funds in tax growth?
In tax growth, I mean, nobody wants their taxes raised. If we had, I'm not going to say we need Procter & Gamble here, but if we had 3, 4, even 5 little businesses, you know, just something that employed 50 people. Well, if you had 5 of them, 50 times 5, do the math, you know, that would bring some revenue to the county.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. What do you do?
And the Hardee's building out there, it makes me sick every time I drive by.
Yeah.
But, you know, I don't know what it's even priced at. It might be too high.
Yeah.
I don't know. Flood zone, I mean, what do you do?
The statement was given, the facts were given earlier that small businesses are the #1 employer in the state of Kentucky. Your Powersville grocery store, you're employing people, you're part of. What do we need to do as a county to encourage residents to become a small business owner and create those jobs, create those services like you did?
Sometimes I think people don't want to work.
I don't disagree with you there. So what do we do to
But
encourage them?
it takes a lot of money to, you know, when I bought the little store, I went to a bank. I won't say what bank, just to be nice. You ask me off camera and I'll tell you. I don't like banks. I don't keep a lot of money in the bank. I just keep enough in there to pay my bills. So the bank told me that I didn't have enough action going on.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't have enough action going on. And I said, well, I'll tell you what, they didn't want to loan me the money. And I could have went out and bought a $100,000 pickup truck today. You know, but that's stupid.
Yeah.
So what I did was, I told the people at the bank, I said, I understand 100%, but I'm going to buy this store one way or another. Sometimes you just got to have a little help. Didn't have a whole lot of money. I had a little money saved back. I made a deal with the owner that had it, and we worked out a deal, and he's never missed a payment. It's not a lease. I've got a deed to this place. And maybe I shouldn't be telling people this on here, but you know, but that's the way I did it. If there's something that a person can do similar to the way I did, and I'm debt free, I don't, other than the little store, I don't like debt. My house, everything's paid for. But sometimes you just gotta figure out a different way. Because everything I've ever wanted, I've got it.
Gotcha.
I mean, if I wanted to be a doctor, I could have been a doctor if I wanted to. I didn't want to be a doctor. I mean, my heart was set on driving a truck for years and years and years, and I did that. You know, I got in trouble in grade school one time, and the librarian, I don't know if you remember Miss Ewing. She's probably passed by now, because I think she was 140 when I was in school. But I got in trouble. Mommy had to come to the school, and she said, "Now," sat us all down there at that table, and she said, "Now, Darrin, what do you want to be when you grow up?" I was like 3rd grade. What was my answer?
Truck driver?
I told her I wanted to be a truck driver, and I did it.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, I wanted to go on further. You know, people go on further with their educations. I went further with what I wanted to do. I built my own house. Me and my brother Lonnie built my own house, and chainsaw and a hammer and nails, you can do a lot.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, let's continue on. You know, are there specific things that the fiscal court can do? Do you think to encourage business growth? I mean, you're exactly right. We've got to bring things in, but as you're going into it as a small business owner, what would you say if you're asked the question there? What do we need to do to get more small business in Pendleton County? As a local business owner, what would you say?
Truthful. You want a truthful answer?
Yeah.
Better have a pocket full of money.
Okay. Maybe some way to give incentives or incentives or something.
Incentives would be good, but I'm telling you, Keith, you're going to have some money.
Okay.
And it depending on the type of business you're wanting to put in down here.
Gotcha.
The old saying goes, if you got money, you can make money.
Yeah.
I had a little money, so now I'm making a little money.
Gotcha.
You know, and that's just plain and simple. That's just a cold hard truth.
Absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely.
A little boy on my bus, he likes cows and stuff. You know, this child's doing this. This child is in middle school. This child is going out already. Me and him talk all the time.
Mm-hmm.
He's going out and buying him a cow here, buying him a cow there. He'd tell me, he said, "I gotta go work today at the neighbors." This kid is doing it, and he's in middle school. He's doing exactly what maybe we could have done or we did do, but he's just a good kid, and I gotta go buy a fence post this week and you know, fix his fence to keep his cows in, and that's part of it. You know, you're not just going to jump out here next week and build a Hilton. You know, you're not. You know, you're just not going to do it unless you're loaded.
Yeah.
You know, but and a lot of it starts with just a kid. You know.
Yeah.
It's the way you're raised. I mean, if you're raised to work, you're going to work.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not raised to work, you're not going to work.
I understand that. I've seen that enough.
And we've got that all over the United States. We've got it here in the county. We've got it here in Kentucky. It's just the way it is.
Yeah. All right. Let's talk about roads. That's a big issue with magistrates. You all direct spending of funds in your district. Spending in funds in the county that you receive from the state and locally. How do you see the roads matching up in your district? Things that you would like to address with them?
Roads are very important, you know, as well as I do. The mileage in these 4 districts, and don't quote me on this, but I'm thinking, and I'll find out when I get in there.
Mm-hmm.
There's, let's say $500. You're giving $500 to all 4 districts. Take that $500 and do what you can do with it. Mm-hmm. All right, 2 of them districts has got more road miles in them than the other 2. District 3 is one of them. Mm-hmm. If I'm telling you correctly, I will find out for sure. Is it fair to give the other 2 districts? I don't want to take nothing from them, but you know, should it be divvied out like that? You know, if I have 100 more miles in District 3 than a different district does, you know, there's something something we need to we need to do something there.
Well, and actually that leads right into one of my questions is, as a district, as a magistrate, you represent a district, but there's times you have to come together for the benefit of the county.
Exactly.
So what experience, what do you have something to show that you've done that? You've had the ability, I'm setting aside this because it's better for this and coming to a consensus. Because there's a lot of consensus building up.
If I could give something to help a different district, brother, believe me, you'll get that help. Mm-hmm. You know, Eagle View Road up there, off of 330.
Okay.
It's just a little side road off of there. I was talking to a lady at the Wolf Fest. I've been up that road, looking at it. I don't know how hard it would be to get an ambulance up there. There's several disabled people up there, and there's potholes that deep.
Wow, really?
Yeah. My car drug, I mean, it's all the way up, and it dead ends. Then people got to have some help. I mean, I know it's not a county-maintained road. They're taxpayers. We need to fill the potholes up, if nothing else. I mean, come on, we can fill some potholes up with gravel, you know. We got to do something to help them. And you know, if you got a driveway 3/4 of a mile off the road, well, you're on your own. Yeah. Because mine is.
Yeah, mine is too.
And I keep mine maintained. Me and the mailman get along good over there.
Yeah. Well, one of the issues, obviously, that is going on nationwide. It's not just a Pendleton County problem. It's a Kentucky problem. It's a nation problem. Is the drug issue. Fiscal court has control of funds. What kind of things do you feel like should be the philosophy of fiscal court to help the police departments and the different organizations that are fighting this battle?
You won't like my answer.
Okay.
I told you I'd never lie.
I know you won't, yeah.
Sometimes death is not the worst option. And I hate to say that, Keith. Sometimes death is not the worst option. You may have it in your family, you may have it in their family, it may be in my family. It's probably in everybody's family. But sometimes death is not the worst option. Well, as far as Narcan, given the Narcan, no.
Okay.
You pay X amount of dollars for Narcan, but you won't give no money to the poor fella that's got diabetes and can't afford his diabetes or his insulin and stuff. What's wrong with that picture? I mean, and I don't want nobody to die. I don't want nobody to die. But Mommy always said, you make your bed, son, you lay in it. So that's where I stand on it.
Gotcha. So with the Narcan and stuff, is there any...
You know, putting them in jail, Keith, the jails are full.
Yeah.
You know, you say, well, why ain't they going to arrest them people? Why ain't they going to arrest them? Yeah, they arrest them, then they get out. Why do they get out so quick? There ain't no room, you know. What, you want your taxes raised to build another jail? You know, it's a hard decision. I mean,
and it's not just our decision. This is the same
nationwide. Now Washington's not going to tell you that.
Yeah.
What I just told you.
Yeah. Now because we got a press release, I don't know, back in the summer, and we ran the story. They're expecting the prisons on state charges to be full by the end of 2019.
There you go.
And so they're going to have to do something because you can't have full prisons, and it might be. I think you'll see a situation occur that they're going to be separating users who are arrested for possession versus traffickers. They set some certain level. If you're arrested with a certain amount, that you move into traffickers. And I think everybody agrees that they look at users different from traffickers. That if you're here to sell and make money upon other people's misfortune, all right, we're going to nail you. If you have an addiction and you need help, maybe we should provide the help. If you truly want the help. If you truly
That's
want
the thing
help,
right
yes.
there.
Yeah.
If you don't want the help, it ain't going to do no good.
Absolutely. Totally agree. Totally agree.
And if you keep doing this, people, Narcan is not even going to help you. Yeah. You are going to die.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we've finished these up. Is there anything you're going to be, let's say somebody wants to talk to you about an issue going into the election, somebody just wants to have a discussion, continue on what we're doing here. Where are you going to be? How's a way to contact you if they want to talk to you about an issue?
I put my phone number on Facebook last week.
Okay.
Anybody wants my phone number, you can have it.
Okay. So
if I'm driving a bus, I cannot answer.
That's true.
You are not allowed to talk on the phone in a commercial motor vehicle.
Yeah.
Unless you have the earpiece, but that don't include the bus.
Yeah.
You don't talk on an earpiece. You don't talk on it at all. So,
You have any
anytime other than that, you can call me, text me.
You got any events coming up? I guess, are you at the store at Powersville? I mean, do you ever out there?
I'm there occasionally, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I do the grunt work for my daughter.
Gotcha.
I take our nickels and dimes to the bank for her, and if we need to order stuff or something, sometimes she does it, sometimes I do it. A lot of that stuff I can do right from the house.
Gotcha. So on Facebook, they can get your number. You'll be at Measure the Candidate on Thursday.
I will be.
The 20th. Any other things like that going on anywhere?
I'm waiting on basketball season.
Gotcha. You're November 1st. When's the first game?
I don't know. I'm waiting on phone calls to schedule me to referee.
Gotcha. Usually it's the beginning of November, so right at the beginning of the election.
I haven't got a schedule or nothing yet.
Yeah. Now, the last question we've kind of finished all these up with. You're elected. You start January 1st, 2019. Your term will come in December 31st, 2023. As somebody would look back on your term as magistrate, what would you hope that they would see that stands out about your service to the county?
If I win this race, when that time is up, I want the people to look back on everything that I've done. Mm-hmm. If I have not made you happy, to the best of my ability, do not put me back in office.
Okay. And that's fair.
That's fair.
That's a fair statement for every politician. So, well, hey,
and I'm not a politician. I'm really not.
So you're Darrin Gregg running as a...
I'm Darrin Gregg running for office to make District 3 a little better.
Yeah. Gotcha. Gotcha. Well, thank you for coming in.
Right.
Enjoyed the time sitting down with you. And we're continuing with magistrates. Hopefully by the end of the night, here on Wednesday, all of these will be up on our Facebook page, or not our Facebook, our website. And you'll be able to look at them, get a little bit more information about the candidates for District 3 as well as District 2 and District 4. Alan Welly, Republican, running unopposed in District 1, so he will definitely be continuing on in his role. But we'll see what you all as voters decide in the other 3 districts. Thanks again for coming out. Thank you all for watching.
Thank you.